Sir Sadiq Khan, our great Mayor of London, is running scared. He's turned down an offer to debate Reform UK's leader Nigel Farage about the astonishing levels of crime in the capital. Of course he has. When Sadiq's not blaming everything on the far right.
What I find unacceptable, though, is some of those who've got legitimate objections joining hands with some of those outside who are part of a far-right group who are... Some of those outside are part of the far right.
And if it's not the far right's fault, he's dodging questions.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
Avoiding a misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
Or he's jetting off to other countries like America to discuss legalising cannabis in the UK.
Sadiq Khan's campaign to decriminalise cannabis has been a slow burn. It's 3 years since his visit to a licensed cannabis farm in California, where he announced he was setting up a commission to look at relaxing the law.
What is he actually about? In my view, since he's been in charge of our once great capital city, he's turned it into a lawless mess. Over the past 12 months, a crime survey released last week by the Office of National Statistics revealed that shoplifting in London has increased by 53%. That is the steepest rise of anywhere in the country. London also accounted for a third of all knife offences in England and Wales at 16,344, an annual rise of 9%. So what's Sadiq Khan doing about it?
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer.
Reform UK's leader Nigel Farage, who tried to hold Mr Khan to account by offering him a live televised head-to-head debate on crime in London, said Sadiq Khan has nowhere to hide anymore. The blame for his record in office lies solely at his feet. He has failed Londoners. But Sadiq Khan's office called it a political stunt, claiming that the mayor was too busy working for Londoners to get crime down to take part. And the other one, Nigel responded, "It is just extraordinary and cowardly, and everyone knows that London is becoming a lawless mess. What is Sadiq Khan afraid of? I don't bite." Yes, what are you scared of, Sadiq? It is astonishing to me that politicians these days seem to think they can evade answering questions and can have the choice as to whether they are held to account. A spokesperson for Sadiq's office said, Sadiq is building on the progress that's been achieved in London, with the number of young people being injured with a knife, homicides, lethal bowel discharge and burglary all down since 2016. The Mayor's office said the number of teenage murders in London was at its lowest rate since 2003, while the number of under-25s killed was at its lowest since 2013. Sadiq, I have yet to meet anyone who will actually admit to voting for you. You are the Mayor of London, for all Londoners, and it's about time you started acting that way. In my view, you have ruined the capital, and now you're running scared. Right, let's speak to Andy Twelves, political commentator, and get his thoughts on my niggle. Andy Twelves, come on. Sadiq Khan, he has absolutely destroyed London. Am I wrong?
I don't think he's destroyed London. And just on the point from your niggle at the end of your monologue there, you say you've never met anyone that's voted for Sadiq. I voted for Sadiq. And so did the majority of Londoners.
No, I said I've never met anyone who'd admit to voting for him.
I admit it.
Well, I finally have. You're the first person, I have to admit.
This is big stuff. I mean, he's won three mayoral elections. You know, he clearly does have something to offer that Londoners like. And I think when you talk about this accountability, he did have that accountability last year at the mayoral elections, where he won a resounding victory over one of the people in one of those clubs, actually Susan Hall, who couldn't even tell the truth about whether or not she's been pickpocketed on the tube. So I just don't see the argument that there's no accountability or favourability.
Well, why won't he answer questions then? She asked him a very straight question about grooming gangs. He then asked her what a grooming gang was, that's obfuscation at the highest level.
Well, I think, the Metropolitan Police struggle to define a grooming gang as one individual thing, because they have a wider definition, whether it's a child sexual abuse grooming gang. They sometimes define county line gangs as grooming gangs. They do have a pretty broad definition of what a grooming gang is, in fairness to the Metropolitan Police. But I think, on the point of this debate... Well,
he could have gone by that definition, that would have been fine. But he acted like he didn't know what it was.
I'm sure he could have, and I'm sure, in the rest of that mayor's questions, he did answer plenty of questions as he does every week in the London Assembly. And I don't think it takes an MP for Clacton, an area which isn't in London, to try and, ridicule him and get him on a debate on TV when, Clacton's crime figures have increased dramatically over the last 12 months. I think Nigel Farage should be focusing more on his own constituency.
OK, well, Nigel Farage is representing Reform UK as an overall party for the United Kingdom, and London happens to be the capital, so he should be somebody who Sadiq Khan will be prepared to be questioned by. Why would Sadiq Khan not want to speak to Nigel?
Well, Reform UK have a member of the London Assembly, Alex Wilson. They have plenty of councillors in London. Why would the mayor of London debate an MP for Clacton? I'm sure that the Reform UK
He's also the leader for Reform UK.
Puts questions to him regularly. He may be the leader of Reform UK, but what does it matter? They've got a member of the London Assembly that is a Reform UK member. I think the member for Clacton should be focusing on the skyrocketing crime statistics in his own constituency, instead of zooming off to America, spending time trying to call out Sadiq Khan on social media. Well,
speaking of zooming off to America, that's exactly what Sadiq Khan did, didn't he, to talk about legalising cannabis when burglaries and knife crime are skyrocketing in the capital. Shoplifting is at an all-time high. Why doesn't he? Where is his focus on that? What was the latest thing that he'd planned for shoplifting?
Well, I think he went to America in 2022, wasn't it?
Yeah, and what's your point? So what?
Well, that was 3 years ago now.
So?
I mean, shoplifting wasn't as big of a crisis in 2022 as it is now. So I think the kind of false equivalence there is not a real argument.
Well, no. It's perfectly reasonable. I'm saying Sadiq Khan's had 3 terms as London Mayor. This is his 3rd one. So I can pick anything in that period if I like. And so I'm picking things like that. I don't think he's focused on the capital. And I'm asking you to give an example of what his latest thing was that he did to help crack down on knife crime and shoplifting. Could you just focus on that?
Well, he's just empowered even more policemen on the beat to make arrests when there is a danger. But previously, regulations stated that they could not go and take on bicycle thieves if they had an ankle grinder, because that could possess a real risk to police officers. He's removed that regulation.
Shoplifting, sorry, which is what I'm asking you about, which has soared exponentially. Where is he on that?
I think he believes in investing in a local police force that is more present on the street. I think that's his position.
Where is he on that? What has he done about it?
Well, I think he's, lobbying the Home Office for greater funding for the Metropolitan Police.
Well, that's not really very specific, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, shoplifting is a symptom of a wider crisis within the police force. I think, there are lots of different issues that we could point out and go, this is rising, this is rising, this is rising. They'll come back to that root force of there not being enough funding for policemen and policewomen in the Metropolitan Police.
Let me tell you, so Sadiq Khan's explanation for shoplifting was that we have a lot of shops. That's apparently what he said in February this year. Yeah?
Sadiq Khan can speak for himself. I think, Nigel Farage is in no position to lecture anyone on criminality when, up until very recently, his preferred candidate for London Mayor was a convicted police... Ant Middleton had assaulted a police officer and had been banned from running a company. One of his own backbenchers, James McMurdoch, was jailed for beating up his own girlfriend, and he's just quit the Reform Party for something to do with COVID loans. So I don't think the Reform UK Party is this kind of glistening example of anti-criminality, to be honest.
I'm not not talking about the Reform Party. I'm talking about Sadiq Khan, and I just
Well, I'm
pointed
wondering
out that
why
Sadiq
the
Khan.
member for Clacton
I've
is
just
trying to
pointed
debate
out
the
that
mayor of London.
Sadiq Khan. So we're talking about crime because somebody needs to address them about, in particular, shoplifting. Sadiq Khan, when asked about the crisis of the 50% surge in shoplifting in February, said that that's the fact the city has a lot of shops compared with other parts of the country, along with a particularly high cost of living. So he pointed out that there are lots of shops, which is why it looks worse.
I think probably the increase in prices and the decrease in wages in the country probably has something to do with the increase in shoplifting. I don't think that's, a justification to steal, but I think there probably is some merit in that argument. But I think it comes down to funding in the Metropolitan Police. There aren't enough policemen and women.
Yeah, you see, that's it. It's just taking accountability for the work he's doing, isn't he? Because he also works alongside the police and crime commissioners. So he really should have...
He is the police and crime commissioner.
Well, I did ask you specifically, to give me something that he's doing, and you couldn't give me anything at all. Andy 12, thank you very much. On shoplifting,
right,
which is the problem. All right, Andy 12, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good.
That is Andy 12. Of course, yes, he is the police command. He is part of that. But listen, crikey, I'm exhausted after that because he hasn't really done much, has he?